If you're watching this right now and you haven't hit the like button, Billy, get on it. Bug your brother. Tell him to do the same.
He did his best to find 3 studs and a dud. We could have flipped the script on this and done 3 duds and a stud, but
Oh, that would have
that
been
is
fun.
not the name. That is not the name of this segment. So, Adam, put a little bit of positivity to this. Who amongst these Blue Jays players are worth mentioning as studs over this 5-game losing streak?
Well, I guess we'll start with number 3 stud of the week. It's about darn time. Dalton Varsho had himself a decent
Yes,
week.
he did.
So number 3 on our list, Dalton Varsho, 2 home runs, batting average 296, OPS 889. Looked pretty good. It was
He did.
his numbers on the season still aren't very good, if I'm being honest. But
Yeah,
it was a good week for Dalton Varsho offensively. Defensively, there was no issues.
yeah.
No gaffes. Not expecting any from him anytime soon. He is as rock solid as it gets.
And
Dalton
it was
Varsho,
really nice to see, too. It was really nice to see because Dalton Varsho has been an absolute stud in the field since we acquired him. He has been everything that was touted. He was everything that was predicted. We didn't see the power stroke quite as quickly as we would have liked, but he's at 4 home runs on the year, and he's still on pace for pretty much that 27 home runs he hit last year in Arizona. He changed his swing coming into the season, which is always a tricky thing to do. He's trying to become a more complete hitter and not be quite so pull heavy. And that is something that we have seen him do and succeed with as a Blue Jay, although we have seen him go hot and cold. So to see him come out of this cold snap that he was in and put up some numbers while the rest of the team was struggling, very good to see. Dalton Varsho, stud number 3.
stud number 2. We've got Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yes.
Had himself a good little week. Again, he's been hard to say
Consistently.
disappointing this season, but it has felt a little underwhelming. Maybe my expectations are just too high on Vladdy, but Vladdy now sitting at 7 home runs, 320 batting average on the season, and an OPS of 932. His week.
I do want to point out, Adam is disappointed in Vladdy, and you just heard his numbers.
Aren't you a little disappointed in Vladdy?
I don't know, man. I kind of feel the opposite. I'm not thrilled with where Vladdy's at, but I've been pleased with how consistent he has been in this lineup. He has been a 320 hitter the whole season. He's looked good. I was hoping for more power. I really was hoping Vladdy would be at double digits by this point. I kind of had this envision of him being around that 2021 power guy, right? Hitting that 45 to 50, and he's more on pace for,
It's a 35 home run pace that he's on right now.
It's a 35, which, like
40
you got to
really
deal with
hard
35
to do.
home runs. Exactly. We're maybe being a little harsh on the guy, but stud number 2, Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
His week looked like this: 276 batting average, 2 home runs of his own. OPS led the team this week, 896 OPS. Vladdy, it was a good week for Vlad.
Can I guess the top stud?
I mean, it's unprecedented, but yeah, let's do it. Stud number 1, Scott. Who do you got?
It's got to be Bo.
It's Bo Bichette, of course.
It's got to be Bo.
Of course. I mean, he had the 5-for-5 game in Boston that we wasted.
Yes.
Which, by the way, speaking of wasting good performances, my Edmonton Oilers, and I say that as someone who never cheered for Edmonton until I moved here. Okay? But now, as the proud owner of a Leon Draisaitl jersey, a child's medium, it's my daughter's, but whatever, it's in my house, had a 4-goal effort in game 1 of round 2 there against the Vegas Knights. It wasn't
in
enough.
A loss.
If
In
you
a
told me
loss.
Leon Draisaitl scored 4 goals, I'm like, oh, sweet. We're up 1-0 in the series. No, we are
Yeah.
not. We lost. So kudos to the Oilers for still finding a way. But hey, at least we're not the Boston Bruins, right? Like, they had one of the
Oof.
greatest regular seasons of NHL history and first round exit. So
65 wins. Wow. I still can't get over the fact. And man, the Panthers, Matthew Tkachuk is killing me as a Flames fan. Like, killing me what he is doing right now. I mean, the Florida Panthers were supposed to. We will get back to baseball. This
No,
is
we
a
won't.
real left turn here, but that's how the Jays have done. This turns into a Panthers podcast. But seriously, like, Matthew Tkachuk has put that team on his back, and I mean, we all knew Florida was a good team and just didn't show it for the first half of the season. But
Yeah.
I always kind of described what happened with the Flames as like someone reached into their chest, grabbed their heart, threw it on the ground, grabbed another heart, shoved it back into their chest, and was like, okay, go. And a similar thing happened with Florida, right? Like, with Huberdeau and Kachuk swapping spots like that, Uyghur coming in. It's just a very different core. Florida pulled it together. The Flames did not. Anyways, I'm spiraling here. Let's get
Flames
in.
panic in the middle of a 5-game losing streak. It's a PTSD
Yeah,
situation.
yeah. Now
Scott,
it's all
is what
coming
it is.
together. All of my sports anxieties. I'm just like, it's all the same. The ship
All right,
is
so-
sinking.
So
I'm
let's
Shea
get back.
Hillenbrand right now. Yeah, sorry.
Let's get back to Bo Bichette. Stud number 1 of the week. Went 9 for 30, good for a 300 batting average. Added 2 home runs of his own, 7
Yeah.
RBIs. Yeah. Here's what I like from Bo Bichette. It's been 24 games since he's last had an error.
Wow.
He now holds a 970 fielding percentage on the season. And I know people are going to yell at me that is one of the oldest,
Most inaccurate
outdated,
stats. Outdated defensive. Yeah.
So whatever. Come at me with all the advanced metrics you want. Bo Bichette is playing well defensively. Can we at least agree to that?
Unfortunately, you start looking into outs above average and DRS, he's still up there doing incredibly well. So even if you are trying to put a negative spin on Bo's defense, it's going to be tough on you, which is just good news for Blue Jays fans. Even when we watched the defense struggle in this Boston series, Bo was not one of those struggles, and you love to see it. A little bit of positivity. All right, Adam, who's the dud?
Well, okay, hold on. One little asterisk with Bo Bichette. He had the 5-for-5 game against the Red Sox. I think it was the first game of the series against the Red Sox there. But now that I'm thinking about it, the rest of the time he went 4 for 25, which is a 133 batting average the rest of the week.
Right.
So he had one really good game, and then probably wasn't that useful the rest of the time. So maybe it should have been Matt Chapman.
In your defense, Adam.
Sure.
In your defense. It's pretty tough to come up with 3 studs in a 5-game losing streak where the entire team unravels. So, well done.
Fair enough. Well, honorable mention to Matt Chapman, who hit 308 this week, and I think was the AL Player of the Month.
Yes, he was.
So there
in
you
April.
go. In April.
I mean, that's the thing, and we are going to get into this after this the week preview here of Pittsburgh and Philly. We are going to talk the top of the order, and they have been dead, just completely solid. Outside of George Springer.
Dead solid. Yeah, that's the word we're
solid.
looking for.
Yeah,
dead solid.
Yeah.
Rigor mortis, I believe, is the term. Okay.
All right.
Let's get the dud out of the way, and then we can move on. Dud this week, several honorable mentions that we could get to. Anybody who held a baseball with the intent of throwing it to Danny Jansen or Alejandro Kirk is an honorable mention this week. The exception of Tim Meza and Nate Pearson.
Yes.
Both pitched pretty well. 4 games for Meza, 0 earned runs, a whip of 1.25, so not the greatest, but he got it done. Nate Pearson, 2 games,
Lights out.
0 earned runs, a whip of 0.9, 3 strikeouts, and here's the best part, Scott. 0 walks.
Love it. And
Nate
Adam, while you're
Pearson
there,
looking good.
why don't you mention the innings pitched?
3 1/3 for Nate Pearson. He did come in that Red Sox series. Got a 2-inning outing out of him. In a
2-inning outing.
relatively high leverage situation. I don't think it was tied when he came in, but the Jays tied it up, and then he remained in the game in the like an 8th inning tie game for Nate Pearson, and
Hey.
he didn't implode.
It was great. It was great to see, and I think we are going to see him moving up the rankings of high leverage guys in that bullpen that John Schneider can go to. The fact that he came in for a 2-inning outing and then an inning and a third, you love to see it. You love to see that kind of length, especially from a guy who was originally supposed to be a starter. So this is something this Blue Jays team desperately needs, especially while Mitch White is on the mend. Somebody who can come in and give an inning or two. Trevor Richards has been kind of the guy that they've been going to for that scenario, but to have another dude with a skill set that varies very broadly from Trevor Richards.
You mentioned Trevor Richards had a really rough start to the week. We were talking, is he the hottest seat in this bullpen? And then he settled in. He settled in really nicely for a couple weeks and pitched really well, kind of pitched himself off of the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
This week, however, 2 games, ERA 5.4, a whip of 2.1. So a little bit of disappointment there from Trevor Richards, but he's definitely not the worst pitcher we had this week. So Anthony Bass, 3 games, 9 ERA, only 1 strikeout across his 3 games. He got hit hard, continues to get hard, whip of 2.0. I don't know what else to say about Anthony Bass. I'm kind of over it, if I'm being honest. Especially, you touched on Mitch White coming back. I don't know what else to say about Anthony Bass, Scott. Dishonorable mention to Anthony Bass. Didn't quite qualify for the dud this week. Yusei Kikuchi had a stinker.
Yeah.
He gave us 4 1/3 innings, gave up 5 earned runs, only 2 strikeouts. That's definitely different than we were hoping for. Unfortunately, the dud of the week is one of your guys you've planted your flag in, Scott. It's Mr. Zach Pop.
Yeah, he's
4 games we saw Zach Pop in this week. Was good for 3 1/3 innings pitched. So disappointing right there. A whip of 1.8, just 2 strikeouts. Gave up 3 home runs.
This is how you lose games.
ERA of 13.5. Yeah, it was very much
like this is how you go on a 5-game losing streak. Is your starting pitching crumbles, your bullpen crumbles, and that is the story of the last 5 games. You know, like we can cherry pick some good performances, but for the most part, man, it has been a team effort in this skid, and the boys need to get it together.
Jordan Romano.
They need to flush Boston. Forget Boston. Do not spend time worrying about it. Like, listen, this is a good team. We're all aware of what this team can do when they're firing on all cylinders, but they had 0 cylinders going. And guess what? If you're just a dead motor, you are going to lose some games.